I got news for anyone on the call or anyone listening. The reality is that is the way any kind of commission sales job goes. You are more often than not always going to be nervous in the morning. Now, I think as you get more used to the job, you got appointments, you're a little more comfortable. Maybe the anxiety does go away a little bit, but I sold books for 7 summers. Then I sold insurance, supplemental cancer insurance for 6 years after that. I don't remember there ever being a day where I woke up and had a big day in front of me that I didn't have a little bit of anxiety or butterflies. Typically, that the bulk of that just kind of went away after the first knock. The way we came out and came up with the 3 out of 4 is we want every agent to have things that are controllable or very, very, very heavily influenceable in a given week to focus on, because you can't control where the buyers are. You can't control whether somebody has money. You can't control whether somebody has a really good policy already in place. You can't control whether somebody is home and answers. You can't control when that person answers the door. If they've just had a really crappy day and they're going to be rude to you, or they had a really good day and they're a nice person, they're going to be nice to you. There's a bazillion things in this job and in life that you can't control. All right, all right. We got a handful of people on the call already. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started. It's probably going to be about 2.5 minutes. Thank you guys for getting on the call. Oh man, we got a good lineup of people already on the call. The Cadillac Hanley, I see you on the call here. First time getting on in a long time. If I'd known that, I don't think I'd have done anything different. Thanks for getting on the call, Chad. We got Pablo Martinez on here. Ron Collins, I'm not sure if that is Brooks or somebody else. Oh my God, Naomi Thoffman, first call of the new year on the call. Juan de la Vega on the call. Mr. John Ferguson on the call. Who else we got? We got a wireless caller. Someone I got to meet for the first time this past weekend. Miss Kayla Marquez on the call, Ruama on the call, a couple other wireless callers. I don't know why. Sometimes y'all's names show up and sometimes they don't. And Miss Marta Avila on the call. Mr. Courtney Hunt, gonna have a big year in 2026, getting on the call. Miss Janine, probably still recovering from New Orleans, all that talking she had to do. We are thinking about you, Janine. Thanks again for an awesome time in New Orleans. Zach Fox on the call. All right, well, we're at 8:31. My timer says 50 more seconds, and then we will get this thing kicked off. All right, all right. Well, my timer just went off, so that means we got to go ahead and get this thing started, and we hit the magic number. We're over 20 people already. Thank you guys for getting on the call, making this. We're going to make this a good year. I see that Mr. Chick-fil-A just got on. Who else got on since I last spoke? Let's see. Oh, DJ Crawfish, Anthony Price on the call. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Maximus Prime, the vampire agent, also got on the call. So let's get this thing kicked off. Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If you are looking for the Morning Pursuit Call with Pedro Vega, you've come to the right place at the right time. There's no sheriff in town today. The inmates are running the prison. So if this is one of your first morning despair calls, try not to take everything I say too seriously or be offended, because you will get no apologies from me. Not to mention, if you get offended by someone you don't know, that you've never talked to, and something that I said, you are probably a giant sissy and will not make it in this business. And if somebody, so for all you new and experienced agents, remember, work hard, study hard, follow the system, or fail out of the business. You'll be flipping chicken, the Lord's chicken over at Chick-fil-A like Christian Gale. Cooking with somebody. So this is the Morning Despair Call. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yours truly, the host with the most. Couldn't give that man a raise or a shot of Fireball Roberts. And now the moment everybody's been dreading. Oh, look out, it's me, I'll be Triple P. If I'd play Papa, there were none before me, there will be none after me. That makes me the one and only young and single of the mingle, certified, bonafide, and indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out now, y'all. Time your life. Now, As I mentioned before, this is normally the place for the morning pursuit call where we, one, promote peace of mind, two, we begin again, and number three, we pursue excellence. So, that being said, I'm going to have Amber Lewis on. I actually just spoke with her for the first time a couple of minutes ago, and she has been absolutely killing it. I talked to Pedro a little this morning. He said she would be a great person to share. He got her on last week, but evidently only had a couple of minutes. But she has been killing it. She's written 23,500 in her first 4 weeks. The fact that she's already over, what did I say? She's number one on the week so far with 5,100. Realistically, that puts her over like 30 grand in the first 4.5 weeks. She's basically already at about 6,000 a week average. To put that into perspective, if you go to work 52 weeks, you're doing that, you are just shy of 300,000. And there's a really good chance with the amount of effort, the work she's putting in, she's going to get a lot better than that. She keeps that up. No doubt she'll be hitting 300K her first 12 weeks, but I'm excited to have her on. Amber, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks again for hopping on the call. And I think you said last time you were on, you just talked a little bit more about your background being in customer service, automotive, and it was just basically you were being impacted by other people, was impacting your pay, and so you just wanted some more autonomy. Is that correct?
Yep, that's the gist of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, how has that been so far? Like 4 weeks in, 4.5 weeks in, you're kind of in control of your own destiny. Do you like it? Does it still scare you? Are you nervous every day?
So I am still nervous every day because every day is kind of unknown. But at the same time, whether I have appointments or door knocks, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, okay, you're either going to get up and go do it or you're not. You can't really complain about those other people that you worked for and worked with because they're not here anymore. So this is what you asked for. Now go get it. And so I get up and go get it.
Absolutely. And I got news for anyone on the call or anyone listening. The reality is that is the way any kind of commission sales job goes. You are more often than not always going to be nervous in the morning. Now, I think as you get more used to the job, you got appointments, you're a little more comfortable. Maybe the anxiety does go away a little bit, but I sold books for 7 summers, then I sold insurance, supplemental cancer insurance for 6 years after that. I don't remember there ever being a day where I woke up and had a big day in front of me that I didn't have a little bit of anxiety or butterflies. Typically, that the bulk of that just kind of went away after the first knock. But if you feel that feeling every morning or every week, that's okay. That you're not abnormal. You're actually more abnormal if you don't have that feeling. So again, if you're out there, you're nervous, you're new on the job, don't worry. That's pretty normal. You got to use that anxiety to kind of drive you out the door and get moving. So I like what you say about that. No excuses. Your pay is on you. The people that were holding you back before aren't there anymore. So glad to see you're not making excuses. Um, but what I wanted to talk a little bit about is this first 4.5 weeks. You're basically at this point just shy of 30,000. What is the main thing that you have been focusing on?
So my main focus, and I just kind of let it take care of itself, so to speak, with working hard, but is the 3 out of 4. I aim for the 3 out of 4 every week. I tell my wife, I'm like this past week with the snowstorm, it killed Monday and Tuesday. I was like, I'm gonna go get my 3 out of 4. Like this is the 4th week of the month, the last week of the month. I'm gonna go get my 3 out of 4. So I worked 11-hour days and I worked Saturday and I made it happen. I didn't have high premiums last week, but I got my 3 out of 4. And at least by the end of Saturday, I was satisfied with my effort for the week, even though 2 days got snowed in. And so within reason, I'm going to aim for my 3 out of 4. And whether it's stuff that's in underwriting that comes through and gives me premiums for the day, like it did yesterday, like at the end of yesterday, I got home. It was, I don't know, after 6 o'clock, whatever time I got home, 6:30. And I had fat stacks of character. That's all I had. I had sits and I had door knocks, but I had zero money on the board. And I was like, well, okay, it is what it is. It's a 0 day, fat stacks of character. And then woke up this morning, an email at some point, 10 o'clock at night, came through that an application I had for Monday issued as applied. I'm like, sweet, money on the board. There we go. And so, I mean, I just do the thing, find what works. And for me, it's the 3 out of 4. Like that's my weekly, daily goal. And then the rest just kind of falls in place because I'm working that 3 out of 4 to the best of my ability. I'm learning at every house, and I'm not just going through the motions. Like I'm putting in max effort on that 3 out of 4, not just knock, nobody answered. Okay, bye. Like, no, I'm knocking multiple times. I'm leaving sticky notes. I'm circling back around. Like I'm hitting them as many times as I can, um, out of that same day or that same week, and just calling them while I'm there, trying to catch them on the phone. And then, maybe they can't hear me. And so I'll call them, leave sticky notes, whatever I can do to generate some traffic. So,
That's that's incredible. That's what we love to hear. And if Jenna's on the call, I may ask her in a second to kind of unmute herself and talk on that. But a couple comments I wanted to make first. One thing that I heard a long time ago that I'll still say to people to this day is, the best advanced sales was advanced work stats. Um, the 3 out of 4, the way we came out and came up with the 3 out of 4 is we want every agent to have things that are controllable or very, very, very heavily influenceable in a given week to focus on, because you can't control where the buyers are. You can't control whether somebody has money. You can't control whether somebody has a really good policy already in place. You can't control whether somebody is home and answers. You can't control when that person answers the door. If they've just had a really crappy day and they're going to be rude to you, or they had a really good day and they're a nice person, they're going to be nice to you. There's a bazillion things in this job and in life that you can't control. And if you are always focused on what you can't control and get mad about it, you're just going to be miserable. So with the, so with the 3 out of 4, what we're trying to get you guys to is focus on what you can control. Because if you focus on what you can't, you're just going to have a rough life. For you, Amber, what are the 3 out of 4 that you find yourself hitting more frequently or almost every week?
So the first 3 weeks, I was hitting premium hours and presentations, and that was consistent. The first 3 weeks, and then the fourth week, the last week, the snow week, I had my presentations and I had my door knocks, and so at the end of Friday, I either needed premiums or hours. I needed one of them, but I'd already door knocked all week for what I could those 3 days or whatever. So I had presentations and I had door knocks. And so Saturday, that was like good. One of them's got to give. I'm either putting in the time or getting the dime, one of the two. And I had about 1 hour left of time, and then I finally got a premium locked in, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm eating dinner. And but either way, like I was determined, I'm either going to put in the time and put in the effort and time, or I'm going to write a policy and get it that way. But so far, like this week is kind of a repeat of last week so far. I mean, except I've got the premiums now and it looks like door knocks. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. I mean, it's a crapshoot every week, to be honest.
There you go. And again, for everyone who doesn't know, premium, hours, door knocks, and presentations. Obviously, the premium I would say is the hardest to hit, but I would say if you're hitting the other three more often than not, especially as you get more experience, you're definitely going to hit the premium. And here's what I can tell about this. We got a lot of experienced agents that don't average what you're averaging over the first 4 weeks. And a lot of times they're frustrated. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And then I go and I look at their stats and they don't ever hit 3 out of 4, or they hit it 3 out of 4, and it's like when they hit it by accident because they just worked more that week or whatever it is. I mean, it's absolutely insane to me to hear people talking about or being frustrated with the amount of money they're not making, and then you look at it and they're not hitting the 3 out of 4 ever. They're hitting it one week out of the month. Like, if you want to be successful, Pedro talks about this in every interview. We hit it every single week on the morning calls. You got to control what you can control. You got to do what you got to do. If you're not making the money you want, you're not hitting the premium you want, you're not doing the 3 out of 4. We can almost guarantee it. The average premium for people doing 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4 weeks out of the month is basically double to triple than those that aren't. So if you want to turn things around, choose the 3 out of 4. Jenna did text me. She said she is on the call. Jenna, I just wanted to kind of get your perspective. You've been in insurance for a really long time. I worked with Jenna. I got the opportunity to work with the Reading Crasher. not hand in hand, but we worked at Family Heritage I was there 6 years. She was there 350 years. She just, finally, we got her to come over here. She was there, I think, 9 years. She's been with Cardinal now a while. Talk to me about Amber and her focus on the 3 out of 4 and kind of what you really appreciate about her and what you feel like is causing her to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning. So, I would just say what she mentioned before, like building those habits with the 3 out of 4, like that's what we focused on. That's what we talked about every single day. And just trying to make myself as available as possible when she is in a house, to be able to like go over, like one thing that I didn't do when I first got started was like a lot of replacements. And she just kind of jumped in. She's like, hey, I'm sitting down with this person. They've got these policies. And I guess like she just wasn't afraid to like just jump in, like just dive in all the way, and just, get your knees skinned up, like make some mistakes and learn from them. And I think she just had a really, really good attitude about just being coachable, and just saying, hey, this is what it's going to take, to be successful with this. So if you just focus on, like you mentioned before, Quentin, the controllables, like hit your 3 out of 4 every single week. If you're able to do that, like you are building up those good habits, the premium will come. So I just told her, don't focus on the premium. Like I've got confidence in you. You should have confidence in yourself that that's just going to come. So just focus on that 3 out of 4. And she's been doing it since day one. So yeah, I'm real proud of just her work ethic and just her coachability and her attitude about everything.
Absolutely. When we have like trainer calls or we're talking to managers, we find ourselves the biggest predictor of success of a newer agent in this job is typically how often and how well they communicate with their manager. On a scale of 1 to 10, how has Amber been on the communication?
A 10, for sure. I give her 10.
10 out of 10. And I'm going to work on it, Amber, but I will eventually come up with a nickname for you. The other thing Amber you said is is yesterday she like, you're in. Yeah, basically yesterday you had a 0 day. And when I talked to her this morning, she said kind of a similar thing. I built fat stacks of character. And we say that as a joke, where it's like you have a 0 day, I built a lot of character. And it's somewhat of a euphemism, but it's 100% true. You're gonna get something positive out of every day. And that's another thing that you said a minute ago is like you feel good about your week when you hit the 3 out of 4, even if the premium is not there. Obviously, out of the 4, the premium is the one all of us want. That has the most fun. If you're gonna get one of the 3 out of 4, most people, from a financial standpoint, they obviously want to hit the premium. But talk to me about that as well. Like your attitude. I would say again, a lot of agents that don't make it, that's not really their attitude. They all they care about is the money. They don't care about really doing the right things. What do you feel like has enabled you to just buy into what we preach and to have a good attitude despite a day or a week not going the way you want?
So some of it is from my previous career. And I don't know, just integrity with working with people and treating people the way I want to be treated. Like I'm not that person that's going to rip your head off one time and then never see you again. I would rather you trust me, you get within your budget, let's work this out as a team, maybe get referrals from you or repeat business later down the road, whatever the case is. I would rather build trusting business of volume versus a one-time sale and then they can't maintain it, so then they cancel the policy. And so some of that trickles in from my past 20 years because that's how I made my living, was building relationships with people, having them trust me. If I was on vacation, they didn't bring their car in until I got back from vacation. And those are the type of relationships that I want to continue to build in this industry, where they trust me. Now they call their son or they call their sister or whoever, and they're like, yeah, you need to talk to my girl because she's going to shoot you straight. And so I try not to focus too much on the premium, and I focus on the objective of why I'm there, which is to give them the information to make an informed decision for themselves. That's my sole purpose of there. I hope I make money at it, but I also have to remind myself of why I'm there in the first place. And that's just to give them the information to where they can make an informed decision as an adult for what's best for them and their families. and then it works itself out how it's supposed to. If the premiums or the policies that they have in place are what's best for them, then it is what it is. I did my job. I didn't make any money, but I did my job, and then if something comes up later, they know that I didn't force a sale or push a sale so hard that I just destroyed that trust by trying to just push a sale even though they didn't need it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, it's you are like hitting every major thing that we want to see and what we always see with the people that are most successful. And it's incredibly simple. It's focus on the 3 out of 4, have a good attitude about what's going on, talk to your manager in and after every single house, and treat people the right way. And it's funny as people are always like, "What do I need to do? What do I need to do?" They're a lot of times very focused on sales techniques and things like that, and those things are important. I'm not downplaying that. And again, that's kind of where reaching out to your manager, talking to them, talking to somebody who's in a position that sold what you want to sell. Those things will come, but those other things are just so foundational, not just for success in business or your bank account, but I think success in life and feeling happy with where you're at and how well you're doing. Again, 4.5 weeks in, what do you feel like has been kind of the hardest part about the job for you so far?
So the hardest part probably would be replacements and policy reviews. Kind of overcoming those objections. And whether it's they have, like I sat down with a client the other day and he has like 3 term policies and he didn't want to do a review, so he's just telling me what he knows. And so I'm asking them, I'm like, okay, well, when does the premium go up on that one? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, what about the? I don't know. Okay, so you have 3 policies that you don't know the ins and outs of, but you're not interested in knowing the ins and outs of. He's like, no, I just know that these are the ones for me. And I'm like, okay, like I can talk to you all day, but I'm not gonna because I'm kind of wasting my time a little bit. Now the wife, however, she was more interested in hearing what I had to say, but he was the decision maker, so to speak. So I just kind of left them with questions. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth and argue and tell you what you do and don't know because we have not called to write down facts. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to ask you a bunch of questions and then you two can discuss them. And if you would like answers to those questions, give me a call. Because I'm not going to sit here and dick around with you all day. And I just can't. I can't do that. But those have been, I guess, what I've been working towards getting better at is overcome existing policy objections and let's do reviews. Let's actually get the information, down on paper. And so, like yesterday, I did a replacement. So the one that came through underwriting last night is a replacement, and so she's got a term policy. So even though my policy is higher premium by like $40, it's $40 higher, it's locked in, right? And so she bought it based on, okay, I know it's never going to go up. Where the policy she has now, when she's like 88 years old, it's going to go up $6,500 a year, and then another 1,200 next year. Yeah, so then she's got like $700 payments every month just to keep that going for that next year, and so on and so forth. I'm like, that's going to put you in a very vulnerable situation because you're not going to be able to afford that, which means you've lost all this money. It's lapsed, and now you're struggling to get some kind of coverage that's probably going to cost you $300-400, and you're not going to be maybe as healthy as you are today. You're going to be older. I'm like, you're setting yourself up for a bad situation that we can eliminate right now. And so, and we did. So it got issued as level, and it's going to be locked in at 149, whatever it is, and then she don't have to worry about it, and it's just good forever. So
That's awesome. Well, it's funny because you're 4.5 weeks in, and I can already tell from the information you just shared, you're more knowledgeable on replacements already. Probably more so than I was even like 2 or 3 months into the job because you just threw yourself into the replacements a lot more, and you're learning about how things go. And one of the things that I think is pretty common of people that are in the field working hard that are not doing well with their premium numbers aren't good. I would say one of the I would say the two biggest problems people have are one, they never jump into replacements. Replacements can be anywhere from 30 to 70% of somebody's premium on an average week. And so if you're not doing that, you're not asking about it. And again, everybody starts off just like you, Amber, with essentially no knowledge of it. The only way you learn is by throwing yourself into it, being confused about it, maybe feeling dumb after a house, not knowing what to say, but then reaching out to the manager and learning little by little by little. As a one technical note, when you do run into these replacements in situations like this, one thing I can tell you're doing a good job of, Amber, is you ask a bunch of questions. And that's one thing when you run into a replacement with somebody who is skeptical about giving information, what you've got to do is you've got to ask a bunch of pictures, or sorry, ask a bunch of pictures, ask a bunch of questions to help them realize how much they don't know, paint a picture, and then ask kind of a trial close question. So this guy doesn't know about his policy. It was like, Mr. Jones, one of the things that I love about what I do is a lot of times I'm able to help people out without really getting them to spend any more money than they already are. In your situation, whether you buy from me or not, I don't care. But I have run into so many people with situations like yours where they have a policy, they don't know how it's set up, they don't know how it's going to perform over the long term. And a lot of those people I run into 5, 10 years later, and it's too late. They didn't realize it, but their policy is now terminated. And all that money that they spent for the 5, 10, 15 years is gone because they had a term policy. Or they've got a universal life that's they thought was locked in because they paid the same premium for 10 or 15 years. And then like a lady I talked to yesterday, she found out in a couple of years her policy was going to go up by $6,000 a year, which is $500 a month. Most people we talk with are on a fixed income and they can't afford that. Let me ask you this, Mr. Michael. If you found out a year or two from now that your policy was going to get so expensive you couldn't afford it and you lost all that money, how would that make you feel?
Exactly.
And wait for an answer. Sit there, be awkward, let them answer and say, all I'm saying, you don't have to do it, but I think it would be silly to not take a minute or two to try to figure out what you have. Worst case scenario is going to say, you know what? This is the best policy for you and you need to stay with it. If it's better than anything I can do, I'm going to recommend you keep it because that's what I got in this job. I treat my customers with respect and I want the best for people that I talk with. And when you say that, it's going to show that confidence. But when you ask those questions and then you're bold and you share and you tell stories about what could happen and why they need to know and why it's important for them to know what they have, you will find more of those people resistant starting to give you more information and being open to it. But you got to be a bulldog. You got to get in there and grab on. But Amber, I apologize that I ended on the note of me talking, but you did an awesome job today. You've done an awesome job these past 4.5 weeks. And I'm excited. I think you've got a good chance of next awards banquet a year from now that you're going to be up there in competition for that Rookie of the Year award.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you guys for getting on the call, and we will see you again tomorrow.